Wait a minute.
Did you tag me in on
I'm about
Facebook?
to. I'm about to now.
All right. What's up, good people? Watch the Game podcast. It's your boy LA Cheatham.
Kenji McDonough, what's good? Good people, what's going on? I know it's NBA tip-off night. Well, yesterday was, but yeah, we here with you, and we gonna cover it all.
We're gonna do the best we can because there's a lot going on, man. Major League Baseball playoffs going on. Your Yankees, I see you representing with your Yankee hat on tonight.
Hey, you know I'm
And
on the team.
yeah, but like I say, it's a lot going on, man. The Bulls at this moment playing your Miami Heat. Your Miami Heat. Now I don't know about the Bulls fans in our area, you know what I'm saying? They might be giving you a little heat tonight. But
Yeah, yeah.
they got a good one going on right now as we speak. The Bulls up what 11, 87-76 is what I got. Uh what's up, Pete?
Nah, man. Like I said, we it's the best time of the year, most wonderful time of the year. Like I said, we got everything going on. We got baseball playoffs. Lakers kicked off season last night, and the Warriors got their rings. We had some great college football this past weekend. We got together and watched a couple games. It's the best. It's the most wonderful time. The Yankees still in it. You know, we survived the Guardians. So we still in it. So I'm still good. But I'm kind of pissed off at the score with the Heat right now. Like Zach not even playing and we down 11. What's up?
Yeah, you know what? I was getting ready to go live with you, so I kind of lost track of that game. The Bulls got off to kind of a slow start. But it looked like as of right now, like I said, they're up by 11. Now we gonna stay on that game. We can touch into the Lakers going against the Warriors last night, and then not the Eagles, but the Sixers losing to the Celtics.
Yeah.
Um, but one interesting thing about the Bulls and the Heat, they matched up tonight. So one thing that interests me about the Bulls and the Heat is the style of play. Now, when we cover the NBA, I want to focus a lot more on the style of play. So I would like to think that since I was a youngster, basketball was always my favorite sport. But it seems like right now, the team aspect of the game, sharing the basketball and stuff like that, playing off the ball, rebounding and defense is kind of lacking in today's game. Um, but I'm gonna give it a shot, man. I'm gonna try and watch more NBA basketball this year. But to speak on the Bulls in the Heat, two things. Jimmy Butler for the Heat. I think he needs another. He's still in need of another perimeter score because he's considered what they call a two-way player. So when he's playing on the other end and probably taking the tougher defensive matchup, I think Jimmy Butler still needs another young guard that can put up the numbers while he may be taking the, the tougher defensive assignment. What you think?
Well, yeah, they want Tyler Hero to grow into that role. Tyler Hero is he was sixth man of the year last year, so he's starting this year. So this is his first season as being the starter. So we gonna see. But as far as what Miami, they went to Game 7 in the East Conference Finals last year, lost pretty much on the Jimmy Butler three. You said it was a bad shot. I thought it was a good one to the Celtics. But that team, I think they got worse because to your point, they didn't add anybody. They lost PJ Tucker. Um, I think somebody else we lost. Kyle Lowry. We depend on him to come back and have a good year. You got Tyler Hero trying to take the next step forward. You got Bam trying to take the next step forward in his offensive game, and then you got Jimmy as a year older now. So I've always said they need one more quote unquote hooper to go with Jimmy if they really want to be title contenders. I think Spo is the best coach in the league. And we have many conversations about why Spo ain't got no coach of the year. He been there since 2007, 8, something like that. He's got a good tenure with the Miami Heat, but he's never been a coach of the year. He's been to the finals what 4 times, got 2 championships, and he's done less with more consistently. He's won with stars. He's won with glue guys. He's won with teams, and he's never been a coach of the year candidate. So I'm expecting good things from the Miami Heat, but I don't think they gonna be Eastern Conference finalists this year, unless they do something at before the trade deadline and they add a hooper, to that roster. Because I don't see Jimmy. I think Jimmy's about to be 33 years old this basketball season. I don't see him being able to sustain that two-way defender, two-way offensive scorer over the course of 82. Now, he's not going to play 82 games, but over the course of the season, I don't see him being able to do that and keeping Miami Heat afloat atop of the Eastern Conference. So I'm thinking we'll be one of the top 5 seeds. We ain't going to be in the play-in, but I don't see us getting back to the Eastern Conference Finals as currently constructed.
Yeah, to touch on Spoelstra being the coach of the year, I think it's got early in his career, he had a chance to coach LeBron and Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, won a couple championships with those guys. And I just think it was a situation that he was in was as far as the caliber of talent that he had on the floor that they really didn't want to give him the credit. Young coach with all that talent. But I think in the last 2 seasons, he's had his best years as a coach. Now, going back to the bubble, took the team to the finals and they lost to the Lakers. That's probably the most success he's had as a coach outside of having Dwayne Wade and LeBron James. So they did touch on Jimmy, like you said, might be approaching 33 years old, carrying that load for 82 games. He's gonna have some load management, but I believe he needs another dog. He needs another scorer to go along with him as he take on that two-headed responsibility of playing both sides of the floor, defense and offense. By the way, I just think we need more players like Jimmy Butler and my man Patrick Beverly in LA. Guys that's willing to play both ends of the floor. I think it'll do so much more for the game. Now, touching on the Bulls, who they matched up with tonight, Lonzo Ball is still out. Zach LaVine was out for this game. He wasn't able to play. I mean, I guess he's got some. They resting his knee or whatever. He was I guess you want to consider what they call a healthy scratch. I guess they're gonna give him some time before they actually ask him to jump on the floor. But when you talk about the Bulls, now my concern with the Bulls is whether or not they can play positionless basketball. I don't really think they have the team to do that. I don't know if people really understand how important um Lonzo Ball was to that team. Him and Caruso were two really good backcourt defensive guards. And then Lonzo was always putting the team in position to get easy buckets. You know what I'm saying? With just a simple pitch ahead, he was able to help the team get easy buckets. And then you got DeMar DeRozan. Him and Levine was pretty much the go-to guys when they went into their sets.
Right.
But um, you cannot deny a lot of the easy buckets that Lonzo Ball was able to, help the team get just in the transition game.
Yeah, and I think the addition of Dragic, an ex Miami Heat player, he's having a great game tonight. Great game by coming off the bench and making an impact. I think that's going to be a major positive, major plus for the Bulls. That's going to allow Kobe White to move off the ball and not have to worry about quote unquote facilitating. He's more of that scoring too, even though he's in the point guard package. So I think that's going to benefit him. As far as positioning basketball, we saw Andre Drummond take a three tonight. And I was like, "What are you doing?" But it looked good. Stroke looked good, but it's just weird seeing him shoot, threes and things like that. So uh, I I definitely think that this Bull team is on the uptick. They was what the seventh seed last year and lost in five to Milwaukee. I definitely look forward to the Bulls taking a stride. And I'm gonna just say this too. Before after Jordan and Scotty left, I didn't want to see the Bulls win nothing, especially with Garn Pax and Jerry Krause in the mix. But I actually like for the last this is my second year. Actually like this Bulls team that they've assembled. And if it's on, I'm gonna watch the game. If the Heat ain't on, or somebody else, I'm gonna have the Bulls game on. I'm be watching objectively just so I can tell you what I see. Coming up playing basketball pretty much all my life, that being my favorite sport. So I really like what this Bulls team is doing. I like Billy Donovan as the coach, but I will echo your sentiments. I don't think they're positionless basketball team yet, but they're moving in that direction.
Yeah, I think once winning, if they get Lonzo Ball back, that can only make them better. I mean, given that he's going to be healthy enough to play enough games, I mean, I learned to appreciate his game when he came to Chicago. It wasn't so much the hype and all the talk with the way he came into the league with
Me and LeVar Ball.
yeah, with the dad taking the spotlight and always talking up on his sons and stuff like that. And when he came to Chicago, we had a chance to see him play quite a bit last year, and I really grew to appreciate his game. Now, his dad, LeVar, did tell us he was the real deal, and to see him play the amount of basketball that he played for Chicago last year early in the season, like I say, him and Caruso both. I mean, it was. I believe he's probably one of the best point guards in the league. I mean, I'm talking about from a distribution, putting the ball in the right place, and then he worked on his 3 pointer. Had a pretty, he coming out of UCLA, he couldn't really shoot. It was his shooting motion, his technique was awkward.
Yeah.
But in the last year or so, he worked on that stroke, and he was knocking it down at a pretty nice percentage last year. And 6'6", pretty good on the ball defender. I think once the Bulls, winning if the Bulls get him back, they should be a lot better. And take a step back, touch on last night's games with the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors in particular. Now, I don't know how much of that game you had an opportunity to watch, but I just really appreciate the way the Warriors play basketball because when they play their offense, they get five guys. They're one of the few teams in the league that have like down screens and screening off the ball, getting shooters open, and guys just pretty much cutting to the basket. Whereas most teams, they do a lot of dribble, ball dominant things, and it's really not
Offensive.
entertaining to me. I appreciate what the Golden State Warriors, how they play the game. And I believe that's one of the reasons why they are NBA champions right now. And on the other hand, they faced up with the Lakers, and the Lakers, I seem like they got off into more of my turn, your turn offense again. I mean, when LeBron had the ball in his hand, he made good decisions. He made quick decisions. He was aggressive to the basket. He hit cutters when they came down the lane. But the question with the Lakers is when LeBron is off the floor, what do you do well to sustain the minutes that he's on the bench? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's going to determine how well the Lakers are this year.
Well, looking at that game, I didn't see any difference in philosophy with them, moving on from Frank Vogel and bringing in Darvin Ham from last night. I mean, Patrick Beverly, we just talked about him earlier. Like, he made his bones in this league playing defense, playing hard, doing the scrappy stuff. And he got out there like his jumper was wet last night. I think he took about three or four threes. And I'm like, what are you doing? LeBron took 10 threes. Uh, so, but actually, what Westbrook actually had a good game. I mean, he had four turnovers, but I think he shot a fairly decent percentage. I think he was 7 of 12. Was engaged in the game, not two. He shot only three threes, hit one, only missed one free throw. So Westbrook, I'm gonna give him his credit because I know a lot of people have been down on him and saying he's the reason the Lakers are not, winning at the level that they are expected to. But last night had nothing to do with Russell Westbrook. I think the roster is flawed. For if you look at how LeBron James has notoriously constructed teams post Cleveland the first time, it's been him, another guy that can go get his own buckets, and shooters. And they don't, and guys that can defend, and they don't have that on the Lakers. So it's gonna be another long year for the Lakers. I'm just hoping that Russell Westbrook can kind of, shake the narrative that everything was his fault in LA and kind of have a decent season. I think he needs to move on from LA, go somewhere else to have a fresh start so he can go back to being him. But that's pretty much what I'm looking for outside of LeBron getting, the scoring record. I'm not expecting too much from the Lakers. I'm not expecting much from Anthony Davis. I know he's from the crib, but Anthony Davis is like his 10th year in the league now, and we know what he is. We always say a guy got 3 years. After he show you consistently 3 years what he is, that's who he is. So Anthony Davis is going to be a guy that got hella potential, hella talent, be injury riddled. And, some nights he's going to come out and be motivated. Some nights he's not. That's going to be Anthony Davis, and that's not going to be enough to get the Lakers to where they want to be.
When you talk about Anthony Davis, I think for Anthony Davis to be successful, first he got to stay healthy, and then he has to get as many easy buckets as possible. What I mean by that is paint touches, high low game. I mean, I know he can step out and shoot the three, but I just think uh, Anthony Davis would be better suited off around the rim, where he could, draw more fouls, get to the line a lot more often, and I think kind of slow the game down. Because as you see, every time he gets into the transition situation is when he ends up getting injured. I mean, little, knick-knack injuries. I think for the Lakers to be successful, he most definitely got to show up. Westbrook, whatever Westbrook can give you. But just like we spoke on Jimmy Butler, needing another hooper, the Lakers need at least young dogs, two young dogs. And those guys can come off the bench, whoever it may be. They should be able to come off the bench and give them good minutes on the defensive end, rebounding and stuff like that. I think that might be the formula for the Lakers to be successful. Because I believe the Lakers will make the playoffs this season. But if they
Me
don't
too.
find one or two young guns to help them on both ends, not so much on the scoring, but just their weaknesses really came on the defensive end. And if they can find one or two young guns that can help them on the other end with a little bit of scoring punch and a lot of defensive help, the Lakers should be a playoff team this year. I believe so because I find it hard to believe that LeBron James is going to become the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, passing up Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and not make the playoffs. That don't even sound good.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even think they're gonna be in the playing game. I think they'll be a top 6 seed, but I
Yeah.
don't expect. Yeah, I don't expect much from them in the postseason. And then you can kind of let me ask you this question: If it wasn't for the bubble, do the Lakers have a championship in LeBron's tenure there? If it wasn't for the bubble,
Probably not because a lot of fans after the bubble ended, it really came down to the circumstances of the bubble where a lot of teams really didn't really want to be there.
hmm
So when you think about that, that championship, that bubble championship has kind of been played off. Not a lot of respect for it, but it is a championship. And then they fired Frank Vogel, what, 1 or 2 years right after he won it. So, I mean, I they benefited from the bubble pretty much. I think they just kind of outlasted everybody else, them in the Heat. Okay, the Heat being from Florida, being in the state already, and then everyone else have to come and join them in the bubble. And I think a lot of the guys just want to get the hell out of there. And I think the Lakers benefited from that. Um, Another game opening night was the Celtics and the Sixers. Um, I believe Joel Embiid is probably one of the top two centers in the league. But I do not believe he's going to win championships playing that far away from the basket. I think him, like I talked about with Anthony Davis, he needs to be more of a load around the basket, get an opportunity to shoot more free throws. And this is why I believe positionless basketball cannot work for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the NFL, like the greatest show on turf. There was one team that was able to do that, the Kansas City Chiefs. It was one team that was able to play like that, over the last 3, 4 years. Now we're seeing the Buffalo Bills, able to play that way, but even the Chiefs not even playing that way no more because they don't have the weapons. Like you gotta play to what your personnel is. And Joel, I think he should just be the meanest, most nastiest, dominant big man. Like Joel Embiid should be a skilled Shaq to me. That's what he should be. I mean, yes, he can step out and shoot the three. That's bonus points. But there should be nobody in this league. I'm talking Jokic included, Giannis included, Bam Adebayo included. None of these guys should be able to just hold their weight versus him. Once he decides I'm gonna go dominate, then he's gonna dominate and he's gonna take off. But since he's another guy like Anthony Davis. One night he decides he's gonna play. Another night I'm gonna just be out here. I'm probably gonna get my numbers just because I'm that talented, but it's not really gonna have an effect on winning. And I think you saw that last night. He wasn't engaged in that game, especially in the first half. He got his numbers because he's that talented, but when you get him on the court, especially him going against Jason Tatum, and B got kind of shafted on the MVP again last year, he probably should have been coming out trying to make a statement. Now, and I'm looking at the game like, man, dude, you about to miss your boat on trying to get this MVP because Jason Tatum is on the come up. He's looking like he's ready to take that step. He could be an MVP type caliber player. You got Ja Morant on the come up. He's looking like he could be that type of. You gonna miss your window if you keep
Yeah.
playing like this.
Um, like I said, I just think it's gonna be tough for him to win a championship playing that way. I believe he is the best, one of the top two centers in the league. I don't think he's playing to his strengths, so to speak. Because like I said, he could shoot the thing, he could shoot the rock from three, but rebounding and defense and just shooting at a high percentage, he should be leading the league in field goal percentage and probably leading the league in free throw attempts. And like I say, can't everybody just can't play positionless basketball because it can't play to everybody's strength. Joel Embiid should be big, strong, dominate the paint, space the floor a little bit, maybe 15 to 18 feet off, away from the floor to complement James Harden's ability to get to the basket. But I just think he needs to dominate a little bit more around the paint. Not to mention the Sixers, just like the Lakers, I think the Sixers have the team to play better defense and lock up on the other end. So, in order for Joel Embiid to dominate around the basket, the other guys, since you will figure that the games will be a lot more low scoring if that's how you're going to play. But if you're going to win, who gives a damn? Those guys just got to step up on the other end, Maxi, and step up on the other end and just play deep. Okay.
Yeah,
As you can see, I'm not a big fan of positionless basketball. So, shot selection, rebounding, and defense has to matter. And then we're going to touch back on Golden State again. One thing I noticed is they really run hard getting back on defense. They really get back to cover the rim. And you don't see that a whole lot throughout the league. So I'm going to be paying attention to stuff like that as the season goes on. And don't get me wrong, I know it's an 82 game season. I know it's going to be a lot of inconsistency in the lineups, a lot of inconsistency in the effort that you're going to get night after night. But as we watch these big marquee games, statement games, playoff teams when they match up against each other, I'm just going to pay attention to the other intangibles, the defense, the rebounding, the shot selection, and the game management of these basketball games. Because I think too many times guys take bad shots in the last 3 minutes of the game. And back, when we were coming up watching them back in the 90s, the shot selection was pretty really selective on who had the ball in the last 3 minutes. Being Bulls fans, we always knew it was going to be Mike and Scotty, okay? And then if you was a Sixer fan, you knew it was probably going to be Barkley or Magic. It was going to be the Magic was going to be the Lakers closer. You know what I'm saying? The shot selection in the last 3 minutes of NBA basketball game right now is like there's no game management. And I'm gonna be paying attention to that. I'm gonna be really critical of that down the stretch of the season. I know it's not. Say again, I know it's not easy to play 82 games and be up for every game. You know what I'm saying? Tuesday night in February, you did. So
in Minnesota. Yeah,
that's when things start. That's when the injuries start piling up. You start calling up guys from the G League to kind of, give your big time players some load management and stuff like that. Speaking of the G League, I want to shout out to my man Damian Jefferson. He's playing with Memphis Hustle out of University of Creighton. He was home. I coached him as a youngster, and he was home and he was able to get in the gym, quite a bit before he left and went to Memphis. So shout out to him. Top 25 college basketball rankings came out. North Carolina is a top team in the nation. And I want to shout out my man, Big Jay Wash, Gary, Indiana, Gary Westside. He's a freshman at North Carolina, playing for Coach Hubert Davis for the runner-up North Carolina Tar Heels. I think it lost to Kansas last year in the national championship. They were only going like six deep, and I think Jalen's going to give them an opportunity to, along with some other key freshmen that they brought in. He's going to give them an opportunity to be a little bit deeper and maybe make another run towards the national championship. Carolina Panthers, not Carolina, North Carolina Tar Heels.
yeah.
Okay, the North Carolina Tar Heels, number one team in the nation for college basketball. That ranking came out, so we're gonna be looking forward to that in the
You
upcoming
buying you
weeks.
buying you buying Gonzaga at number 2 this year? I know they've been ranked high for like the last 3 years, but they never really seem to get it done when it's tournament time and they play quote unquote real teams. I just think they're the most talented team in whatever conference they in, the WCC or something like that. You
Yeah,
you
and
you,
West
you
Coast.
yeah, you buying them this year?
I'm gonna take the same approach with Gonzaga that I always take, and that's they always get a good game from St. Mary's. They play a decent schedule, non-conference schedule, early in the season before they go into conference play. But I'm not really familiar with their roster. We're gonna take a look at it and go kind of see how it pans out for them. But I'm a Carolina guy. I like Carolina. When they brought everybody back, I believe, other than the big shooter, I forget his name, Manic, I think was his name. But I think that might be the only guy they lost from last year's team that played a lot of national championship. But I can respect Gonzaga for being number two. I know they're gonna play a decent offseason non-conference schedule, I should say. They're gonna probably play a few tough games in the non-conference season. So they're gonna always make their head in the tournament. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying? That's the only time they can really prove to us that they got what it takes to be national championships. And I mean, they've been there, but they got to get it done. They got to get it done. Another team that I want to point out, the Oregon Ducks, is a kid by the name of Jermaine Cousinard, uh, transferred in to Oregon, and I think they're a top 25 team as well. But I had the opportunity to coach Jermaine as a youngster too, so he transferred from South Carolina University, and now he's with the Oregon Ducks. So looking forward to college basketball coming up real soon. And like I said, the Carolina Panthers. I mean, keep saying the Carolina Panthers. Damn, I,
We got
I need
we
a
got
drink.
we got football on our mind. We got football on our
Yeah,
mind. You know, our beloved Bills. They got the Monday night game coming up. This upcoming week, week 7, I believe we in already. So
yeah, man.
they'll be taking on the New England Patriots. Really ain't too much to touch on with them. I mean, that Commanders loss, we touched on it. How you feeling? I guess in the mini bye week, heading into that game.
Okay, well, once again, I'm gonna shout out to the Carolina Tar Heels, the number one team in the country college basketball. But let's talk about the Bears. They got first of all, they did some things with the roster. They cut, they waived Emir Smith Marset.
17, number 17.
Yeah, they waived him, so he's not there anymore. And they moved up Isaiah Coulter, number 82. Isaiah Coulter, he's a wide receiver. They moved him up from the practice squad. And I want to stay ahead of the curve. I think that the Bears will not put Velus Jones Jr. out to return punts against the Patriots on Monday night. Now, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that he will not, Velus Jones will not be returning punts against the New England Patriots. Um, Interesting thing about the biggest thing that I'm concerned about with the Patriots is the coaching matchup. Now, if we got to mention that Bill Belichick is tied with Papa Bear Hallis, so I really would like to see the Bears get this one, but I think it's going to be tough because I would hate to see him pass up Papa Bear Hallis and beat the Bears in the same
In
game.
the same at the same breath. Yeah,
So
it's kind of looking that way. I mean, New England's a better football team than the Bears. They obviously got a better coach, so it's probably gonna turn out that way. But again, I'm just looking for progress. I'm just looking to see some progress at this point. You know, I bought in on Justin. I'm dug in on Justin. Think you need to get some talent around him. So now that I've come to that thought process and conclusion, now I'm just looking for the process. So go up to Foxborough, play close, maybe squeak out a win. Is Mac Jones playing this week? I know it's kind of
no,
midweek.
I think it's going to be Zappy again for the Patriots. I think this is going to be his third start. He's playing really good football. But like I said, it's the coaching matchup for me. It ain't even about who's on the field. I just know that Coach Belichick, he's always giving young quarterbacks a tough time. And I
Yeah,
cannot forget, you remember when Brady went to Foxborough and played against the Patriots in prime time?
yeah,
Man, Brady caught hell that night, you
yeah,
know. So he took what a lot of people consider the GOAT and just game planned against him. And he's so successful against these young players because Justin's not a rookie. But I'm going to be really concerned about the coaching and the things that's going to happen. What is Justin going to? How effective is Justin going to be in this game coming off the game against Washington? The guys got like 11, 12 days off, so they're using it as a mini bye week to kind of make some changes and reassess the roster. So expect a few things to be different with the lineup when the Bears play the New England Patriots on Monday night.
yeah. I mean, like I said, what are we 1-4, 2-4, 2-3?
2-4.
Correct. 2-4, 2-4. It would be nice, like you said, for that extra component of not letting Belichick get that win against us and breaking the record at the same time. It would definitely be a little icing on the cake. But at this point,
Well,
we just want to.
he won't be breaking the record because he would be just going second. He'd just
Okay.
be passing him second because the
Shula got
coach
the record, right?
Don Shula has the
Yeah.
record, and I think he's got, man, I think he like at 370 some wins. I could be wrong. Got to check that, but um, yeah, he still got a ways to go to catch Shula. I just would hate to see him beat the Bears and pass up Papa Bear Hollis in the same game.
And two, that's the closing game of week 7. You know, we already talked about the Bears and these primetime games. Like, don't have us as fans wait all the way to Monday night and you just go out there and just lay an egg. That's not what we want to see again. Give us give us a game we can be excited about watching. We can see progress. We can see Justin taking steps forward. And if you want to go ahead and pull out the W, we not gonna be upset at you.
I'm not. I mean, they need a W right now. Two L's, 2 weeks in a row with an L.
Because we
You
should have
play
beat the
particularly
Commanders.
well against Minnesota, and then you go out and look good early, but you just couldn't get in the damn end zone against the Washington Commanders. I would love to see them beat New England. I just got a lot of concerns about this game, and it's only because Bill Belichick is on the other sideline. I got so much respect for Coach, and it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Now, as far as the Bears are concerned, they got to get David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert more touches. Not so much in the running game, but they got to add these guys to the passing game. They got to add them to the passing game. I like to see that happen. The defense, the defense got to be good. I mean, they were pretty good last week against Washington, 12 points. You figure you give up 12 points, you should get a win. But, let's see how they do it. If they can get some pressure on Zappy, they haven't been getting a lot of pressure on quarterback since the Green Bay game. They got to be able to get some pressure. Jalen Johnson is back, so let's hope that he could make some plays in the secondary. Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker. I would like to see if they can continue to make improvements in the secondary. Uh, like we talked about weeks ago after the Houston Texan game, everybody wanted to they wanted to pay Roquan
Roquan.
Smith, and I told you, give us about 4 weeks, and here it is, 3 weeks. This is about the third week. Roquan Smith, since the Houston game, Roquan Smith hasn't really made that big of an impact. Matter of fact, he got caught up on the highlight reel because he took a hell of a block from Carson Wentz in the Washington game. He got wiped out by Carson Wentz in the Washington game. But Carson Wilson's a big boy. But like I said, man, this thing is gonna take time. We can't just rush to make judgment on anything. Not Justin, not Roquan. The team is in transition. The team is under construction, and that's why I can be patient because I think I understand that. And we just, like I said again, want to see some progress, want to see some improvement in some small areas. Yeah, get another receiver going. Get some other receivers active. Valus Jones. Maybe he can make it happen on from a receiver standpoint. Nikhil Harry coming back off the
Is he
injury.
is he gonna play? Is he gonna dress? He dressed last game, but he didn't play, right?
I don't think he dressed last game. I think they gave him a healthy scratch. And one thing about Nikhil Harry, he's if he does play, he'll be making his return against his former team that traded him. So 2 things to look forward to if Nikhil Harry plays. You got Bill Belichick trying to break Papa Bear's, trying to pass Papa Bear up with the victories, and then you got Nikhil Harry. He should be, if he plays, he should be no motivated to make some plays against his former team. Like this what you miss. So I'm looking for him if he plays to make a statement.
And he never really got a fair shake to get on the field. I know he had a lot of injuries in New England too. That was the narrative around him was that was Bill Belichick finally going up and taking a wide receiver. It was after Tom Brady had left, but he had finally took a receiver, in the early rounds of the draft, and he never really produced because he was banged up, never really got on the field. So that'll be a nice little twist if he was able to get on the field and have a big game. Hey Billy, this is what you missed.
Yeah, I feel so much better if they can get a couple more guys involved on the Bears offense because, like I say, the defense is playing well enough to win. Um, some other interesting things about the NFL. How you feel about the Eagles? Um, how you feel about the Philadelphia Eagles, the last undefeated team in the NFL right now?
I think the Eagles are for real. I think the Eagles are for real. They got a good defense. They got some weapons on the outside. When Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert has kind of come into his own at the tight end position. Jalen Hurts, we spoke about this on past episodes. You know, he's in the same system again for for the second year. This is the first time he's had that since high school. You can really see the growth in him at playing the position of quarterback. He's not turning the ball over. He's doing what he needs to do as a quarterback. It's not sexy, but they're 6-0. I think the Eagles are for real. I definitely got to put them as the odds-on favorite to make a deep playoff run and probably represent the NFC at this point. When you look around the NFC, Tampa Bay struggling. Tom Brady's having problems getting that offense going and off the field issues. So you're looking at the Rams; they haven't looked really good. They I don't want to call it a Super Bowl hangover, but they're probably lacking some weapons outside of Cooper Kupp. Uh, Beckham is still recovering. They haven't signed him, I don't think, last I checked. The Packers, they're going through some things. They just lost to the Jets. So it's a lot of the perennial NFC favorites that you usually be like, oh yeah, you can point to them to make a run. I don't think they're gonna be there this year. Dallas, after Dak got hurt, we thought they would be down in the dumps and probably be looking at a uphill fight. They only lost 2 games, but I don't think they're better than the Eagles. But the Eagles are for real in my opinion.
And then the Giants,
I didn't even
they
mention them.
surprised.
Yeah, yeah,
Coach Dabo getting a lot of credit for heading that ship, but um, the Giants, for as much credit as everybody want to give Coach Dabo, and I can understand that he's the head coach. I think he's in the same situation Matt Nagy was in 2018 because his defense is playing really, really well. Defensive coordinator Pat Graham's got them boys playing on another level. Keeping the team in the game. So that the Giants offense can get a chance to score points because it's the type of thing with they're not like juggernauts on offense or nothing like that. But it's just the defense continue to stay steady and giving them an opportunity to stay in games so that they have a chance to win games, score enough points to win games. And I just don't think the national media is giving the Giants defense enough credit for being there to keep the team in the game because the Giants they're not scoring a ton of points,
right,
but they're
right.
not giving up points either. But I want to send a shout out to Pat Graham, the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants. Come on,
Yeah,
and
the
the Jets doing pretty good too.
yeah, the Giants and the Cowboys. I feel like you can flip a coin on them. I think they're like kind of mirror images of each other right now. Now we're gonna see when Dak actually gets back at the helm if he can elevate that team to another level. But I think the Giants and the Cowboys are right there. I think they're probably a notch or a notch and a half below the Eagles in the NFC East.
Yeah. Um. Now the Giants knocked off the Ravens, and the Ravens just signed Deshaun Jackson.
Saw that, yeah, I saw that.
I don't know if you're up on game with that, but I think that just happened. So Deshaun Jackson back in the league, playing with Lamar, the Jackson boys. What we call them,
Right.
the Jackson two, Jackson to Jackson. So Lamar has another. He has a weapon. Maybe he can cut down on a little bit of the running that he's been get taking a few less hits by getting the ball in his hands. maybe Deshaun Jackson can stay healthy enough to finish out the season and make the Ravens more formidable in the AFC to contend for the AFC championship.
And they got to
You
stop
cannot
blowing leads.
overlook the other game. What's that?
Yeah, the Ravens got to stop blowing leads. I mean, they've been that's been their problem this year. They've been up. Look like my light just went out. They've been up in a lot of games and they haven't been able to close. So the Ravens got to close some of these games. And Lamar Jackson kind of got outside of himself. He had 2 turnovers. I'm not down on him for that fumble that he got because he should have been protecting the ball better. Being that he was in the pocket, there's a lot of traffic around. So I'm not really gonna bet hard on him on that one. But that interception he threw after the ball was snapped, and he should have just fell on it and he tried to make a play and he didn't even see the defense. He just threw it and it got picked off. Like you can't have them type of turnovers, especially when your team is struggling to close games and you're the guy. You can't do that.
Yeah. They also lack a running game from the running back perspective. So yeah, you're right. They defense not playing all that well, and the offense don't really have a lot of ball control when it comes down to closing games out because they can't really run the ball as well outside of Lamar Jackson. They don't run the ball particularly well. We cannot ignore the Kansas City Chiefs and the game they lost to the Buffalo Bills. I think we may see these two teams face off again. Patrick Mahomes ended up throwing 2 picks in that game. Uh, Tony Romo called that game to a T. As the game kicked
And he
off,
usually does. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he's a hell of an analyst. Damn near almost a better analyst than he was an NFL quarterback, in my opinion.
I would give you that.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, he most definitely the new John Madden of the game as far as calling a football game and making it enjoyable to watch. I really enjoy his, when he analyzes football games. But he called this game, Tony Romo did. He said, this is going to be a low scoring game. He said, go take about 24 points to win this game and let somebody make a big play at the end. And at the end of the game, the big play happened, but it was an interception. You know what I'm saying? But 24-20 was the final score. He called that, man, right on the head. The Buffalo Bills going to KC and get the win.
Listen, Pat Mahomes, another one. He did not see that guy at all when he was trying to get that drive at the end. He didn't when he's trying to get to Sky. Was it Sky Moore? I think that's his name. He didn't see that defender at all. Costly turnover, and that's especially when you got teams. I'm not gonna say they evenly matched because I think the Buffalo Bills are better than the Chiefs when you look at the whole scope of it. Defense, especially with Von Miller coming over. That dude is just
Well, you
he
have
might
about
be
3 sacks.
Dude, that dude might be. Remember how when LeBron would leave a team and go to another team and they was automatically instantly a contender? That
Yeah.
might be Von Miller. When he did it when he was at the Broncos, he did it when he was at the Rams, and he got the Bills looking like contenders. So I think the
Hey,
Bills
but,
are.
but but your boy was a mercenary too. Your boy Deion Sanders.
Hey, Coach Prime can do that though. Coach Prime had me stop liking the 49ers and switch over to the Cowboys, and I hated them. So
Yeah. That's
he's he,
you can compare that to what Von Miller is doing right now, going from
yeah.
last year, going from the Rams, and now he's with the Bills. Might have a chance to win 2 Super Bowls in a row. And I think that's what Dion did when he went from the when he went from the
49ers.
49ers to the Cowboys back in the day. So I
Yeah,
would
94,
compare his
95.
performance to that.
Yeah, that's a anytime we can bring up Coach Prime and Michael Jordan on the show, hey, it's a good show for me.
Yeah,
I'm saying a
yeah.
lot of
Michael
things about
Jordan, most definitely the GOAT. Um, but wrapping up, man, we can't leave out your Michigan Wolverines. They got a bye this week. Coming off a big victory against Penn State. We thought that was going to be a big game for them. Penn State went into the game, ranked number 10 in the country. Penn State had a lot on the line. And then the Wolverines went out and handled the business in Ann Arbor.
Hey, Blake Corum, I'm starting to see him getting the Heisman talk, so I'm glad to see that. But it wasn't just Blake Corum that last game. Donovan Edwards went over 100 yards too, and I think if I'm recalling the stat correctly, they had over like 400 yards rushing again,
Mm-hmm.
and just punching people in the mouth, which ain't really sexy when you look at today's landscape of how you play college football. That's not really sexy, and they can throw it just enough to be a threat on the outside. So I I keep getting on here every week and saying I'm feeling real good about going to Columbus on that Saturday after Thanksgiving. Penn State came into this game with the number 15, well, not number 5 ranked defense, I think, against the rush.
Yeah.
And you see
Mm-hmm.
what we did to them. And Ohio State is ranked number 15.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling real good about going into that game. I hate that it's a bye week, because that kind of messes my Saturday up. But 7-0, what can you complain about?
Yeah, you want to give Blake Corum a little rest. I mean, he's racking up the carry, so I think he can appreciate the bye week. You know, um, talking about Ohio State, they coming out to bye. They got Iowa this week, and uh, I think they got a whole serve. They got a whole serve coming out the bye week. They got Iowa. They play Penn State a little later on in the season. And then touch on another game, man, that was probably the biggest game of the day on Saturday, which was the Alabama Crimson Tide going in to play against, I think going to Knoxville to play against the Tennessee Volunteers. And we talked about Hendon Hooker a little bit from time to time on the show, but damn, he brought his boy with him on Saturday night, on Saturday
Hyatt,
Eve.
Hyatt, yeah, he had 5 touchdowns, five
Six
touchdown passes.
receptions and five of them was touchdown passes.
Yeah, yeah. That was easily the game of the year so far in the college football season. If you missed that one, I don't know what you was doing. I'm sorry that you missed it, but that was definitely the game. I was glad we was able to be together to watch that. We had number 12 was there, Cutter Pac-Man was there. We all watched that game together. So that was definitely worth my time. Hendon Hooker has got to be in the lead for the Heisman after a big game performance like that. And I know Bryce Young lost the game, but I think that might be his best game that I've seen him play as the quarterback of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Especially coming off 2 weeks off
Yeah, he got right
and
to
going on the
it.
road.
They was down. What was the score? Wasn't it 28-7 at one point?
28-10 at one point was the score. And
Yeah.
I think at that time we were sitting in the cozies, you know what I'm saying? We was in the cozies and I looked over and we kind of dozed off in the first half. I looked up, it was 28-10, but hell, we stayed woke in the second half. They made sure of it and they made a game of it and they came back, got into the game. But the Volunteers are for real. They still got to match up with Georgia later on in the season. I think Alabama's still in a good spot if they could just run the table throughout. But
Yeah.
Georgia, I don't know. Let me see who they got this week. But um, Georgia still number one in the country. But I think when the Georgia Bulldogs and the Tennessee Volunteers match up, it's gonna be another big one. It's gonna be another big one.
Hey, the Bama got to worry about Ole Miss. Ole Miss is ranked in the top 10. I'm not sure what they ranked exactly, but they was ranked in the top 10 going into last weekend. Bama got to get through Ole Miss. It ain't just okay, we stumbled and we got this loss to Tennessee Volunteers. We just gonna go ahead and run the table and be in the SEC championship game. Bama got to worry about Ole Miss, coached by Lane Kiffin, who used to coach at Bama, so he's gonna have some extra motivation for that. And don't forget about. I know they're not really having a great season, but it's always a rivalry game, and you know how that thing can go. Our good friend Brian Kelly and his family down there in LSU, they got to take care of that game too. And then they got
Yeah,
Auburn,
yeah.
so Bama
Always a
got
tough one. The Iron
yeah.
Bowl, that's always a tough one. I don't care if Auburn is the top team in the nation or if Alabama is the top team. They always bring it when you we talk about the Iron Bowl. I'm glad you brought that up. So it's not going to be so easy for Alabama to run the table, just stay in contention for the SEC championship game and the national championship to close the season out. Um,
Yeah.
Let me see.
Definitely
I
got
think
their
that
work cut out.
most definitely. Georgia's facing off with Florida. Florida's a pretty good football team. They're not ranked, but I seen them earlier this season. They beat Utah when Utah was in the top 25. I think Utah was in the top 10 when Florida beat them. So now you got Florida going into Georgia. They'll be playing that game at Georgia at Athens. So that might be what they call it, the trip, the game that trips you up. What they
Oh,
call
the
it?
trap game. The trap
Yeah,
game.
that might be a trap game for Georgia because they haven't been playing particularly well, up the last 3 weeks. They played really well against Vanderbilt. They beat them 55 to nothing. They beat
Yeah,
Auburn 42 to 10. But when they played Kent State and Missouri, they didn't look so hot. So I
yeah.
think Florida might be a little bit of a challenge for the Bulldogs coming up Saturday. That's a 2:30 start, so I'm looking for. I think I'm gonna try and watch that one this week because there's not a lot of big time games on the schedule this week for college football.
Yeah, I'll probably have my eye on Ohio State big noon kickoff just to kind of scout and see, kind of how we match up against them. So I'll probably check that out. I'll probably be on that 2:30 CBS SEC game. But yeah, it's not really too many high profile games on the slate this week. Is USC, they got a bye this week? Are they playing this week? Or
I don't know. Let me check.
I know they
Um,
ranked number 12. USC.
yeah, they're on the outside looking in right now. USC been getting a lot of respect throughout the country, but um, I believe Clemson and Alabama on the outside looking in. I mean, in order for USC to kind of get some respect, I think either Clemson or Alabama. Alabama would have to lose another game, and I think Clemson would have to lose a game for USC to really start cracking and thinking about that national championship hunt. Um,
And
let's see who
USC
they
just
got this
lost to
week.
Utah. I forgot about that. They lost to Utah last Saturday, and they off this week, so they got a loss on their record right now.
Okay, so they already down one. So,
Yeah,
like I said, Clemson and Alabama on the outside looking in, and with they following Alabama and Clemson. I mean, they always find a way to get them in the national championship hunt. So we have to see how that winds down at the end of the season. To close the show, one thing interesting about our Bears playing against the New England Patriots in Foxborough. Now, when New England played Detroit, I believe they held them to 0 points. And at that time, Detroit was the highest scoring team in the NFL. And that sounds crazy as hell, but the Detroit Lions were the highest scoring team in the NFL, and Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots held them to zero. So that's something to think about going into the game on Monday night. Um, since we've been here, we're gonna give a final on that Bulls game if you've been following
yeah.
it. So,
One
and we kind of wrap
sixteen,
up. What happened?
one 116-108. The Bulls pulled it out. The game got close. It got down to four. Miami closed it to four. With about 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I kind of been looking off to the side, but the post game show is on now. Will Purdue and Kendall Gill is on, gloating about the season opening win. My phone is blowing up. A lot of my people texting me, giving it to me like, "Hey, what happened tonight? What happened tonight? We should have bet on the game, yada yada." So Bulls 1-0, Heat 0-1, and my Yankees are trailing 3-1. I think it's the top of the seventh right now. So, yeah, man, my teams ain't faring too well tonight.
Yeah. Well, there's the seventh inning. Maybe we can get off of here in time enough so you can watch that game. The Yankees in the Houston Astros Major League Baseball playoffs, the American League Championship Series, and the final. Hell, I guess they tied up now, right? With the National League Championship Series. San Diego over the Phillies 8-5.
Yeah, see, I'm not even remotely interested in that series.
I mean, we just covering it up.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So whatever you take, I didn't even know that series was tied. I'm like, what's going on over there? Especially since the Dodgers got beat after winning what they win 106 games, 111 games, something like 111, and then the Braves, they won I think 105, 106 games. They lost. The Mets got. It's kind of hard for me to be interested in those teams. Plus, I hate the Padres. I hate their uniforms. They look like UPS. I hate their uniforms. I can't stand them. So
Yeah.
my focus is the American League Championship Series. Like I said, we are 3-1 bottom of the seventh right now, and I think they literally just hit another home run. I hate the Astros. Astros just hit another. So
Wow.
it's 4-1 Astros. So I'm gonna have to call Aaron Boone to get this thing together as soon as we get off of
Okay. Yeah,
here.
so it's been real. It's been fun. Like I talked to you earlier, help these people find us on YouTube. We're gonna close this thing out.
Yes. We are live streaming on YouTube. Like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. We are trying to grow this thing. If you follow us on our individual social media pages, LA Cheatham on Instagram, I'm at Penn Banneker on Instagram, pretty much everywhere. At Penn Banneker, Twitter, uh, you name it, Snapchat, wherever you at Penn Banneker, that's where I'm at. Please get in tune with us. Please like, comment, share with your other sports friends that love to talk sports. We've been doing this for years. We just put it on air for y'all. Please help us grow this thing. We want you to be a part of the journey so we can start bringing in our guests. We got a lot of big things planned, but we want to grow this thing. We want to grow with you, so we come to your house and watch the game.
You got that right. You got any people on your end that's trying to get with you to come on soon?
Oh, well, Sean Dev, Cutter Pac-Man, these guys always kind of been waiting in the cut. I want to get my man Rob Sims on here, played 9 years in the NFL with the Seahawks and the Lions. Get him on here so he can give us some perspective of just being, a pro athlete, what they go through and how he see the game. Because I know he still live in Detroit, Detroit area. He's still very much in tune with the Lions. So want to get him on here. And just a lot of my guys. Shout out my man Spencer. He's a big James Harden fan, so I know he's going to have a lot to say about the Philadelphia 76ers. My man Jay Hill, he's a big Cubs fan, big Chicago Bulls fan, big Kyrie hater. So he'll have a lot of things to add on the NBA. So a lot of people we want to get on here. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe so we can grow this thing and we can come watch the game with you.
It's been real, man. We had a lot of fun tonight. Hey, I think you got my good side too. You know what I'm saying? So it's been real. I had a lot of fun, man. Looking to get with you and recap the Bears in another week of sports. Watch the Game podcast. We're gonna start doing this thing a little bit more often. So stay tuned and stay ready. Hit the bell, subscribe.
Yes, sir.
We out.
We gone.